Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent. After the recent Black Sun expansion with a bunch of new cards, we are back in Standard today, because there are a bunch of new cards that we want to experiment with, including a very cool combo that I think is going to be a ton of fun. So, let's go take a look at the deck. So today we'll be playing a Skellige Patricidal Fury deck that focuses on many of the new Pirates cards from the new Black Sun expansion, including, as probably the centerpiece, yes, there is the new scenario, which does help us get a lot of damage through things like Cataclysm, but that's actually, I think, in some ways secondary to one of the other new cards, that being Bjorn Stormursson. I am so excited to use this card. I think it's going to be tons of fun, because when you play him, he deals damage to your opponent, and your opponent damages him by their power, much like you would have with Arnaghad. It's just that in this case, it's on deploy rather than when a card is already on the board, like with Arnaghad. So what we can do, though, is if we have 2 damage units on our opponent's side of the board, we can bring Bjorn back into our hand, discard a card, and just replay Bjorn on our next turn. So that means that we can theoretically just play Bjorn non-stop every single turn, which is, that's pretty cool. Imagine having a Arnaghad that is effective from turn 1. But, Lids, but you need Bloodthirst too. How are you going to get it active on turn 1? Well, that's what our lead ability is for, because Patricidal Fury gives us 3 damage units on our opponent's side of the board, so that means that if we want to, we can go leader ability turn 1, and then use Bjorn on that same exact turn, and just immediately start destroying our opponent's cards. And sure, he starts out at 6 power in our deck, because he may be listed at 5 here, but because he has Veteran, with King Bran, we can boost him up to a 6 at the very beginning, and then every subsequent round, he will gain 1 more base power, so it means he's capable of destroying many cards, certainly at least if you play him early before those cards get the chance to set up. So that's pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to just spamming him like crazy and destroying anything that moves on our opponent's side of the board. And in order to help protect him, we of course have the scenario, which, like we said, it's mostly just for additional damage, but in terms of preventing our opponent from shutting down Bjorn, we can do things like hide him behind wherever you went. Covenant of Seal, our defender, because while we can put him back into our hand every turn, he is going to be hanging out on the board for a turn before we bring him back, and so our opponent could lock him, could destroy him, so that's one way to make it a little bit safer to do that. And also, you can play him to the left of Sukrus, again, super similar to Arnaghad, whereas Arnaghad, you would wait until you're on Adrenaline 4 and put him next to Sukrus so that your opponent gets damaged every time they play a card. Except you have to wait for that one. You can use Bjorn pretty much immediately, and if Bjorn takes damage but survives, no big deal. You just bring him back into your hand on your next turn, and maybe hide him behind the defender so he doesn't get picked off with 1 or 2 damage, but otherwise, he's going to heal once he gets back into your hand anyway, so not a huge problem. If, however, you're going after something really big that might destroy him, or maybe you can't destroy the other card, but you just want to weaken it because it's really tall, then you could deliberately play Bjorn to the left of Sukrus, and that way you're getting the damage, but even against tall units, you're still not going to lose your Bjorn, so you can keep on using him every turn. And not to mention, because you can put him back into your hand, that also means that you can start spamming this round 1, and then assuming that you don't finish by playing him, you make sure you at least put him back into your hands and play something else on your final turn, you can save him for round 2 and round 3 as well. So you can quite literally play him on almost every single turn for every single round, which is just insane. So that's why I'm super excited to play this card, because I am a fan of the Sukrus plus Arnaghad combo, and it's basically just a new way to do something very similar to that. And it also means that we did throw in Arnaghad as well, in case you don't happen to draw into Bjorn, or you don't have him when you most want him. It's basically a nice backup plan, and it's something that I think is really nice for the Arnaghad plus Sukrus combo, because although that is a really nice combo, there was always that risk of you don't get them at the same time, and so you get an Arnaghad without a Sukrus, or a Sukrus without an Arnaghad, and it just feels much worse in that situation. But if you have a second card that you can pair with Sukrus, then that makes it much more reliable. So that's another thing to bear in mind. Other than that, we of course have some pirates to help trigger our scenario, like Holger, which, because if we keep on playing Bjorn over and over again, we will keep on getting a pirate played over and over again, so you can get 1 extra ping of damage from Holger as long as he's already on the board once you start doing all that stuff. so that's nice. Then, other than that, we do have some discard targets because, of course, in order to replay Bjorn like that, we do need to discard some cards from our hand. So, rather than loading up on tutors, that's basically our focus for thinning out our deck is discard things like Morkvarg and, obviously, the Tuirseach Skirmishers as well. So, those are two nice targets for it. We do also have Eist, which, if you have Eist on the board, then when you discard a card through Bjorn or some of our other discard cards that we'll look at in just a second, then you can get those cards back onto the board. So even if they don't have that built-in ability to get someone from your graveyard onto the board like the Tuirseach Skirmisher and Morkvarg do, you can say turn a 10 power on Craite Greatsword into something that just gets summoned from your graveyard immediately onto the board when it gets discarded, and don't get the deploy ability, so it's pure 10 power. Don't even need to worry about it damaging itself by 6 when it gets played. So that's really nice. And we do have Coral as well for a little more thinning, a little more discard, and a little bit of damage when you do all that discard. So it's another card that you can play before you start doing all the Bjorn shenanigans, and that way you just load up on even more damage, kind of similar to how we were talking about using Holger. I did not include Birna. She, of course, is the other component of the quote-unquote discard package, but it felt like that might not have been necessary because Bjorn serves a similar purpose, giving us potentially much more discard than Birna would give us. So you could swap her in for Holger if you really wanted to, if you felt like you needed that additional consistency, additional discard. It's an option, but up to you in that sense. Then we also have other ships and pirates. On Craite Longship first turn, always great. Helps to set up a little more of the Bloodthirst, so if you don't want to use your leader ability right off the bat, then this is a way to at least make it easier to get onto Bloodthirst 2 for Bjorn or Bloodthirst 3 for Eist. Then the new Deranged Corsair, more damage with Cataclysm. And if we do destroy the card that we mark with that Infuse ability, then we can get even more Cataclysm for even more damage, which is really nice. Then Tuirseach Invader, because it has Veteran, and because we have Bran in our deck, it's going to get a little bit higher up than it would otherwise get. And so this is also a potential discard target that, if it gets summoned onto the board, is pretty solid value. And then, Warcrier, because our opponent will obviously should have some damage units, so this will become a 1-point per turn engine. But as we're looking toward the bottom of the deck, we're looking at cards that we'd either probably like to be the ones that get discarded, or we just mulligan out and ideally never play. There is the new Seagull, which is a nifty one, which actually is really good for setting up Bloodthirst, for what it's worth. The pacing is really, really awkward with it. We can pretty reliably, of course, destroy units and summon out the Seagulls that we get in our graveyard, but it's still such a weird card. But hey, there is a use case for it. There is a use case. It gives you a little bit of carryover, potentially. If not, then sets up the Bloodthirst, and you can pretty quickly get those Seagulls from your graveyard back onto the board, making it the usual 7 for 4 type of value. So there's a look at the deck, and like I said, it is mostly about spamming pirates as much as possible, especially in the case of Bjorn, and using our scenario, which I suppose we didn't talk that much about, but for the most part, you play Bjorn Strakar. At the beginning, you mark a unit that you really want to deal damage to, and it means that when you do that, you're basically going to double, effectively, the amount of damage that you deal to that unit, so you want to go after something that's really tall, or something that you have a particular desire to get rid of, and then keep on playing pirates, and eventually, you'll get to the point where you can use that order ability again. So that's really all there is to it. Load up on tons and tons of damage, and then finish with Bran at the very end for a nice point slam, assuming that you've done a fair bit of excess damage by the end of the match, and all in all, should give you the ability to remove a whole lot of your opponent's cards, and, at least in the case of Bran, get a little boost in the process, or do some discard and get a little bit of extra value from that discard with cards like Morkvarg and Tuirseach Skirmisher to combine with that. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against Syndicate here, and we'll go first. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We have Sukrus and we have Bjorn. And so this combo is quite nice. It means we can play Bjorn pretty safely and use him for a lot of damage and discard some cards in the process, like the Skirmisher. We have some damage with the Corsairs. Can start off the round with the Longship. Gutting Slash, probably dump that. And this is not much better. Okay, maybe Warcrier is marginally better. But we do already have one of those. Yeah, let's dump it. Okay, Holger. In terms of round 1, I mean, the good thing about Bjorn is that at least if we get Bloodthirst 2, then we can play him in round 1, we can play him in round 2, we can play him in round 3, we can play him however much we would like to play him. So, for that reason, I mean, why don't we at least start off by helping to set up the Bloodthirst by leading off with that Longship to just poke whatever units they try to play here. Now, Syndicate with Congregate in particular is going to be a little bit tough for us, I think, just because they can spawn in some cards to circumvent the damage on deploy that they would normally be taken from the Longship. And Wide Punish is a little bit tougher for us. Okay, well that is a card that we would definitely like to go after here. Don't boost it, or technically you can boost it one more time. Okay. So Bjorn, we can use to destroy this Fallen Knight. Question then is they would have Bloodthirst 0. So, I mean, Leader ability would be our quickest way to get up to Bloodthirst 2. But maybe Corsair on our next turn could potentially make that happen. So we can get Bjorn back relatively quickly. Or actually, Seagull, to tell you the truth. Might be the most efficient way to do it. So yeah, I think it still works. Should still work. The armor is going to be a key difference maker here, because it means that Bjorn does still stay on the board here now. 2 power, he is, of course, rather vulnerable, but we could have gone Sukrus first. It didn't feel necessary. That is a little bit greedy. That's the reason why Sukrus is theoretically here. But if they have damage, then, of course, they might very well go for him. They probably have Desiree. Will they use it here, though? No, they're going to get greedy a little bit. Go with Helvide first instead. And Helvide without Fallen Knight or anything else that gets boosted when they spawn in units is interesting. Not necessarily sure I would have gone that route, and Helvide with a Ceremonial Dagger is also a pretty solid choice, I think, because this is probably one of, if not their best, spender. Could, I mean, then again, Corsair, this is guaranteed, but, well, we only need Bloodthirst 2, right? We don't need Bloodthirst 3, so it's going to be a little bit slow. If we go Corsair on this turn, means we can't immediately put Bjorn back into our hand, whereas Seagull does allow us to do that, so that's really the benefit of it. I guess we'll do Seagull for that reason. And let's weaken one of these guys, because this might end up being the target of the Corsair. Then put you back and discard you. So we get that summoned onto the board, and we get Bjorn back into our hands, so that's awesome. Love that play. And we absolutely have plenty of Bloodthirst here. Now, technically speaking, Holger, if we play him before we spam our Bjorn, is going to give us additional points. Okay, so here's the thing. I really like the looks of targeting a weak unit with the Corsair and then spreading out the damage with the Cataclysm. Now, there's a whole bunch of units in this row, yes. Then again, Helvide is by far the most valuable unit that they have right now. But I guess we can probably just Ceremonial Dagger on Helvide and use the Corsair on this row. I guess that's probably fine. That's probably fine. The question is, do we Holger in this round or do we save Holger? Maybe we try to save Holger, because I do like the looks of things right now. We'll do that. And we'll do that. So we do want one little poke of damage to hit you. Naturally, it hits everyone around that target. But we do, of course, still have another Corsair that we can use in this row and potentially string even more Cataclysm together. But this is why I was thinking Helvide, getting rid of that quickly would be important. Warcrier, of course, generates more value the longer it's on the board. Okay, Von Herse is another enemy. Why are you putting in the same row as Helvide? Okay, well, technically speaking, we put the Corsair on Helvide, we are guaranteed to get it to proc. Problem is, we would like to get the chain reactions going right now over there. Holger does give us guaranteed damage on a specific target for what it's worth. I mean, as does Bjorn, of course. It's a pretty huge overkill on this occasion. But maybe we do go Holger now. Maybe we do. Initially, I was thinking we'd save him, but just to make sure that we make that happen, to get 2 turns worth of Cataclysm, because that is value that we want to make sure we're getting, and getting soon at that, because the round might not last that much longer. Okay, Eternal Fire Inquisitor. Destroy 1. They're gonna continue to spawn in more, though. Or actually, no longer. Oh, but you are Cleric. Yeah, because they lost Helvid, but now you are setting you up. Technically, Bjorn cannot destroy you. Not without some additional assistance. Now, Holger will damage a random enemy whenever we play a pirate, which includes Bjorn. But, I mean, if we were to use Bjorn to target something, it would probably need to be Lieutenant von Hurst, which is probably worth doing. That's probably worth doing. Yeah, let's do it. And it does hit the Eternal Fire Inquisitor, which means that might be our next target for Bjorn, depending on exactly how long this round goes. We do, of course, need time for the Cataclysm to kick in, so it does mean we're running out of time for this Deranged Corsair to do its thing. That is a consideration we'll need to, well, consider pretty soon. Wow. They just straight up did not take their turn. So in that case, when we have a 7-point lead, how do we feel? Do we pass here and risk that they play one more card and catch us? I mean, we would like to get Bjorn back in hand. Yeah, we really, when we played Bjorn, we were basically committing to playing at least one more card here. So I think we probably do go this route. Put you back in hand. Probably get rid of the Warcrier, especially this late in the round. Not a great pick right now. We could target the Inquisitor if we really wanted to. We could try to sneak in the Corsair. I think there might be a few too many targets here for the Corsair to have a good chance of getting that death blow, and even then, it's late enough in the round that might not be the greatest choice. Then again, we don't really want to play Bjorn right now. As we just said, we'd like to keep him in hand, so I will do this, after all. Oh, for a second I thought Holger just absolutely bailed us out, and okay, we did get the card destroyed that we wanted to destroy. That's definitely going to be our last play here, because they're going to take some additional damage from the Cataclysm, which is actually just enough to destroy these guys. And so we will get extra value if this round continues to go. It will not. So we guarantee that we win round 1 there. A little bit of an oddity when they didn't play a card, but I think we pretty much just sealed the fate of what already appeared to be pretty much a predetermined thing. Looked like we were already on pace to win it. Just played one more turn to be absolutely certain. Okay, so we draw into Covenant of Steel, which they didn't do anything to disrupt Bjorn in round 1. They might draw into something to do that in round 2. He is a little bit stronger now, 7 power because of his veteran ability, but we can use him to discard the Skirmisher. That's not a bad thing. Warcrier, I think we're still probably looking to dump you. We want to make sure we have enough pirates if we do get our scenario. We don't have it right now, but I think we... Obviously, this was not a great pickup. Probably dry passing here. I mean, we have some interesting tools here, Sukrus plus Bjorn in particular. Put a defender out there to make it really hard for them to do anything to stop us from just spamming this all over the place. You know what? If we had last say... I mean, then again, we won round 1 and we're a card down here. We could just destroy absolutely everything with Bjorn. That's kind of tempting. I'm really tempted. You know what? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. It's incredibly greedy. We're going to use our leader ability to get the Bloodthirst so that we can spam Bjorn all over the place. Vivaldi Bank into what? Cyrus. Okay, that's obviously a card we'd like to destroy. To a certain extent, he's going to already have done his thing here. Okay, actually that does count as destroying a unit, so we do get our free Seagull out there. For what it's worth, I mean, we did lead out what is arguably their best card, or at least one of them for sure. So there's something to be said for just saying, all right, that works. We'll leave it at that. We did sacrifice a defender, so it's not like we sacrificed nothing. But I was thinking we'd use Bjorn here to destroy... They only had one Fallen Knight in their graveyard, right? So the only thing they could get back would be the Inquisitor here. No, actually, if we destroy the Fallen Knight, they're going to get it back on their next turn, because it has Veil, so it's not like it's gaining... Does this even give Doomed? I don't even remember if it does. It does not. We should probably go for Cyrus first in that case. Yes, you have the chance of getting boosted a bit, but hopefully we still have time to do something about you before you get boosted out of removal range. Congregation is probably the thing that was going to be most likely to boost you up, though. Oh, that is an unfortunate number for you to be at. It is an unfortunate number for you to be at, though. Because we go leader ability, we get... Does this count as spawning in stuff to boost Fallen Knight? I don't remember if it does. Whenever you spawn a unit, it shouldn't, I don't think, but wouldn't necessarily rule that out. Use this to get the Bloodthirst, so we can get Bjorn back into our hand. He's going to be at 7 power, which is not enough to destroy this Fallen Knight. It will drop it low. Maybe that's still good enough that we're okay with that, but I don't love it. We're going to try it, though. We are, in the name of science, we're going to try it. Discard you. Get you on the board. A little bit of bonus value there. Hide you behind the defender. So he will still survive, because he had the armor, but it was not quite enough to destroy Fallen Knight, so we can still get him back and probably discard this warship. And that is really the strength of this deck, is we can just spam the heck out of Bjorn non-stop, and on the rare occasions when they have a tall enough unit that he cannot destroy them, they might sneak something past us, but this is the problem, is when they have things like Cyrus and Fallen Knight on the same turn, and we had to choose, okay, which one do we prioritize here? If we destroy Fallen Knight, they're just going to get it back with Cyrus, so we prioritize Cyrus. But obviously Jacques is also a threat, so if we go after Jacques, we can destroy him, but we're going to miss out on an opportunity to get rid of Fallen Knight. Maybe they are going to run out of ability, or the capability to spawn additional units and boost this up. Then again, that's what their entire deck is built around, so who knows? Let's discard you. Get you back, and go after Jacques. So that would have been their spender. This is still a dangerous engine. And the tricky thing here is we can play Sukrus, which will make it a little bit safer to play Bjorn. That is another way to spawn. It's not going to be enough to get this out of removal range, but the Greatsword doesn't have much setup here. Then it's probably going to be the thing that we discard right now to make room for Bjorn. I mean, at this point... If we do this, we get Bjorn back in hand, we discard you, we're still going to need to play something, which is going to have to be either Bjorn or Sukrus, so we're not saving both of them for the next round. I think we'll do it. And the thing here is that we've taken out, I mean, outside of this, their last engine. But they do still have a decent number of points here. And so we could get Bjorn back in hand and sacrifice Sukrus. But in doing so, that does mean that we will have to play Bjorn, and Bjorn is still going to be a card that goes into our graveyard, and we won't have him saved up for round 3. So we might leave it at this. Unfortunately, yeah, they fended off the bleed reasonably well in that they are going to maintain that one card advantage, but we did force them into playing Jacques. I mean, they played both Lieutenant Von Hurst and Telvid in round 1, but Cyrus as well, Vivaldi Bank, they look like their devotion. So they might not have many options remaining here. And we, of course, theoretically at least, still have our scenario hanging out in our deck. So it means they'll win round 2. And this is the reason why I wanted to hold on to Sukrus, because we also still had Arnaghad hanging out in our deck, so this, of course, is an amazing combo. Longship and Invader, not great, because we're going to want to set up his combo as soon as possible, which means not a lot of time for the Longship to do its thing. Bran is a good points land, though. Do like that a lot. The Invader, I mean, at 8 power, it's not terrible. We actually don't have enough pirates to trigger our scenario, even if we do get that. We can trigger the first round, but that might even mean that... I mean, Eist, otherwise, would probably be the best draw. We'll try it. It is Eist. Ooh, okay. Very nice. Very nice indeed, then. So yeah, it'll be Sukrus and Arnaghad as quickly as possible. Now, once again, if they have spawning, which they likely do, then that is a great way to work around this. Actually, ooh. Okay, we won't get the discard from Eist, actually. Because I don't think we'll have the Bloodthirst 3. Not that we really want to discard a card, to tell you the truth. Because Bran is a good point slam, so yeah. Actually not sure if Eist was better than the Invader in hindsight. Even if he's shinier as a gold, but okay. Anyways, it's Sukrus first. Then it's Arnaghad. Okay, Lonely Champion. Nothing for it to do at the moment. They can put a shield on MK. We actually weren't about to hit her anyway, so that's actually a good sign. If they felt like they were... like they had reason to use that shield, that suggested they might not be about to spend coins on spawning in units, which would be the thing that we actually care about. So, here's Arnaghad. It'll damage whatever card they play, whatever unit they play next by 7, and we'll do so for the remainder of the round, which may, hopefully, prevent them from getting much more. No, not Tavern Brawl! Okay, that does stink. That does stink. We did, of course, need to play them next to each other. But now, I mean, we, as I said, don't really have a way to get up to Bloodthirst 3, so Eist doesn't really do much for us. But we're going to save Bran for last, because he is our biggest card remaining, and Arnaghad might still set him up a little bit here for one more point on the boost, depending on what they have left. Technically speaking... ah, no. Arnaghad's not going to go into our graveyard on our turn, ever. I was going to say, can we use Eist to get Arnaghad back? No. Not unless we somehow sacrifice Arnaghad on our own turn, but that's not going to happen. Desiree don't really have a great target. They actually go after Arnaghad, despite having armor. They're concerned about him destroying whatever they play next, it seems. I'm going to put a shield on, but I'm feeling decent about this. I think that was a good sign. We have the lead right now. They will have last say, but of course we still have our Bran finisher. And I think, I mean, they've already played Tavern Brawl, so I don't think they're going to have much in the way of control remaining here, but we'll play you here in the melee row. 13 points there, which means we're on a 15-point lead. They have some coins to spend, but we know they've already used most of their spenders. It's Igor, but they can't really do much with him. And we'll take him out with Arnaghad anyway. Only thing they can do is create another shield on a card that already has a shield, so that does pretty much confirm that we will take the win here. So there it is. The round 2 bleed turned out to work. Alright, so going up against Syndicate here. And we'll go first. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We have our scenario. We have Sukrus plus Arnaghad. That's great. We have some discard with Coral, which can help us get the cards we want here. We have a card we want to discard. That's also nice. Not necessarily sure Gutting Slash or Dimun Warship are cards that we particularly want here. Do we have the pirates to trigger the scenario? We have one, we have two. I think we dump you. Looking for a pirate. We do get one. It's potentially another discard target, though. Might dump the warship as well. Greatsword. Technically, Seagull is a pirate. Guess that means we can dump you. Okay, Longship is good first turn play. So in that case, it's probably what? Longship, followed by maybe Coral to discard you, then followed by Corsair, and sneaking in the Greatsword somewhere at that point as well, and maybe the Seagull as well. I'm assuming we're saving Endless Voyage for a later round, although we do have, theoretically, the pirates to pull it off here if we want. Okay, so that's going to give them coins. We could guarantee that we destroy it if we go Corsair right here, right now. It's technically, by most accounts, overkill. We could do a single leader ability charge to remove it. That is an option. That is technically an option. Also, I'm pretty sure that I meant to do Patricidal Fury, not Reckless Flurry. We'll run with this for now, but that was so that we have a way to guarantee we get the Bloodthirst for some of our Bloodthirst cards. But I think, what were we saying? Coral next. This gets us close. It drops that other card low. Okay, another Corsair is probably nice. It definitely means we're not going to want to use the Voyage here in this round, because we'll have plenty of Cataclysm at this point, I think. Okay, and should have plenty of targets for that at this point as well. I mean, at least if we go melee row and target the Disciple, that's certainly an option. And then again, I mean, Seagull would get one additional copy if we were to hit the Eternal Fire Disciple, but I don't think it counts on the Scribe because it will actually destroy it, not damage it. This will be another target. I mean, I think we wait. We still wait on that. So we'll go Corsair. It's a little bit, timing is not absolutely perfect, or we could sneak in the Greatsword now instead. Get a little bit greedy. It does allow them one more turn to spawn in stuff, but in some ways we actually like that. That does set up Seagull for a little more wide punish. Maybe we do. It's a little greedy. It's a little greedy, for sure. But it does actually likely make our damage a little more effective here. Gonna make it a little bit tougher to actually trigger the death blow here. And now we actually have reason to target either you or you. It's kind of nice. I think we're still gonna go for you, though. We could throw in a leader ability charge here or there if needed. And at this point, we have basically perfect setup for Seagull, where we're definitely going to be able to get the full value out of that. Okay, close, but not quite enough on the Disciple. We do have other means to deal damage to it with a second Corsair if we'd like. They will continue to spawn in more units here, which means we will definitely still have ways to benefit from continued damage in this row. Okay, Desiree does not get the death blow. Does boost things up, making it a little harder to trigger those death wishes, but it also does make Seagull significantly harder to work here. Probably still looking at the Corsair round 2 here. And that means we've already marked you. Might as well mark someone else in this row. And gonna want to use the Ceremonial Dagger soon, and in fact, we may not have enough time for the bleed to kick in here. It is, since they're wide and not very tall, we're definitely not gonna get the full value out of it. Maybe we just finally cut off this Fireswarm Scribe. It is overkill damage. It definitely is. But it does prevent them from getting that coin generation. Alright, and they're just going to pass here. Still give us the round 1 win. Didn't quite get the Death Wishes to go off here, but we could have forced the issue with Reckless Flurry. We technically still have a throwaway card if we'd like to use it, and I think that is potentially relevant because the Seagull actually can get us some carryover. If we were to, say, go after you and you, we can get 2 Seagulls in our graveyard. I don't think it's going to work if we kill this Fireswarm Zealot, because then we don't have a damage target, we have a dead target. We might be willing to do that. That might actually be preferable. It'd be, what, 3 Seagulls in our graveyard means 3 points of carryover? I think why not? I guess we'll do this. Oh, but I say that. I'm just going to get all the Seagulls out from our graveyard immediately. So, yeah, no. We'll still have 1 Seagull, actually. This one will still be in our graveyard, so it's 1 point of carryover value. It's something, I guess. It means we won't get to throw away a card in round 2, but maybe it's slightly more valuable. Okay, so, like the Longship, that's a good first turn play. Warcrier gives us a bit of an engine, and then Invader, he is a decent target for discard if we get more. Probably looking for Bjorn here if we can get him. We don't have him. Holger is not bad, though. If we can get more ships and pirates, we have some of them. But we basically, when we played that Seagull at the end of round 1, we decided to do that based on... It was either that or was have a throwaway card here in round 2, and so having played the Seagull, maybe we're going to try pass in round 2. So that means they'll take round 2. Okay, so we draw into Bjorn. That's big. That's probably the most significant card that we wanted to draw into. We still have our scenario. We still have Bran. We still have Sukrus, Arnaghad. Basically, I think it's going to be Sukrus plus Bjorn early, and then eventually replace Bjorn next to Sukrus with Arnaghad. So that's probably our go-to. Anything in our deck we still want here. Eist or Defender could be helpful. Maybe we dump one of you. We do get Eist. So we could use Eist when combined with Bjorn is very nice. And then Tuirseach Invader can be the discard target of that, I think. So this can work. This can definitely work. Okay, Ulrich. We didn't really see them use a boosting engine last time, so I'm kind of expecting that we'll see them break out some Fallen Knights sometime in the near future. Surprised that isn't the target of Ulrich, but okay. His armor is unfortunate, and this boost is actually unfortunate. It does mean they have devotion, right? So that's a little bit helpful to know. I think we'll set up the Longship early so we can hopefully get a little more Bloodthirst, because we do want to get some of that going in order to set up a better Eist, a better Bjorn. We can use leader ability charges to help with that, but... Okay, there is the Fallen Knight in question. Yeah, so we think they're going to boost him immediately with some leader ability charges. I think we want to deal with this guy as quickly as possible. And... unfortunately, we can't mark him with an infuse ability because he has the Veil. Do have leader ability charges, which honestly, just going super aggressively on them now might even be the best option for us. We are probably going to play scenario possibly as soon as this turn. Otherwise, Warcrier, just get that boosted up nice and early. But yeah, guess we'll go Warcrier now. And yes, we are going to spam. Looking for you. And in general, more Bloodthirst, which this damage is not really spreading the way we want it to spread. Unfortunately, we do get the Death Blow, which means we will summon out that 1 Seagull worth of carryover. But now we have currently 3 damage units. It's definitely going to turn into just 2 once they start using leader ability charges to boost this guy up. And they know that we were very clearly trying to target it. Now, technically, depending on how quick we are, we may still have the means to take him out. Okay, it's Jacques. That's their big card for round 3, and we established previously they have devotion. So that could be worth targeting with Sukrus plus Bjorn, which is something we'd like to set up relatively soon here. The earlier the better in all likelihood. How many pirates do we have in terms of setup for this scenario? Just to make sure we have enough. 1, 2, 3 if we play it. Those might get discarded. And 4, right? Yeah. So that means we can theoretically play 1, maybe 2 more before we go into Endless Voyage. And here's 2 right here. Technically, we'd like to replay Bjorn a lot, so maybe that's fine. Let's go here. That way, next turn we can break out Bjorn, and it actually, if they don't boost up Fallen Knight, we can destroy Fallen Knight with Bjorn right now on our next turn. So that's what we'd really love. If not, then Jacques is our backup plan. Okay, Eternal Fire Disciple. We damage it, so we're up to Bloodthirst 3, which is nice, but yeah, now Fallen Knight is, for the most part, out of removal range. We can still damage it with Bjorn. And if we put him next to Sukrus, which is very much the plan, then he won't take damage, so it is still solid. But is that good enough to warrant doing? Other sources of damage? I mean, we'd also like to have Holger down relatively quickly as well. If we do overkill damage, it'll help Bran, but I'm not sure that's really reason enough to go that route here. So it's definitely Bjorn. It's just a question of who is Bjorn targeting. We can just... I think we just get rid of Jacques. Next turn should probably be scenario we have a bunch of cards, actually, that we wanted to play as early as possible. 2 rounds of Bjorn would be enough to remove Fallen Knight as things currently stand, but yeah, they're going after Sukrus. And now let's go Endless Voyage. And what we really want is to have a tall unit for us to go after with the Drakkar. The problem is that their tallest units have Veil, so it does not work on them. Lonely Champion, if it didn't have immunity, would have been a great target for that. But alas, it does. And also, did they lose a bunch of damaged units? They might have. So we definitely are not at Bloodthirst 3 here. We are now at the point, nor are we at Bloodthirst 2, can't even replay Bjorn. Then again, we are at the point now where Arnaghad is on Adrenaline 4, so we can put him next to Sukrus and basically take Bjorn's spot. That is an option. Drakkar, I mean, do we have anything we want to go for here? Nothing obvious. Guess it's you. Unless we just wait. Maybe we wait a turn. This is definitely the play. Question is just, do we use this or do we wait to do this? I guess we aren't really going to capitalize on it just yet anyway. So maybe that's fine for the time being. Okay, Sacred Flame is also going to make it hard to get the Bloodthirst going. And they do have a lot of spawning value, which is going to play around Arnaghad. So that's not really something that we like to see. I think we're probably looking at either Holger now, which is another card that we would have liked to have gotten down a little bit earlier, but just couldn't really make it happen. We can damage a unit by 2, so tell you what, we can actually do this, and then do this. Okay, Procession of Penance. Do they have enough tokens to avoid the damage? Ooh, well, actually, that would have been a great target. Now the problem becomes they have 1 damage unit. If we can get a second one out here, I mean, the Longship will help us make that happen. Is that going to be enough to get the Bloodthirst 2 to replay Bjorn and discard you? Or do we discard you right now with Eist and see what we draw into? I think we take our chances here. I do think we take our chances here. Oh, right, but we don't have the Bloodthirst. We need the Bloodthirst. Yeah. I mean, it does still work with Bjorn. If we do get up to Bloodthirst 2, we can discard you and get you back out. You're just going to get destroyed from Arnaghad. So, ooh. It is pretty awkward here. It is pretty awkward. Now, technically, the longer we wait, they play more units, then Bran will get boosted up by the excess damage from Arnaghad. So that is still helping us. I think that means we're just not discarding you. We will trigger the last round of our scenario here. Though, not sure how valuable that really is to us at this point in time, and we can try to target you. But we don't really have the means to deal much damage. Although, then again, it's basically a top-deck war right now. They have Cyrus, which will destroy him. He will still get his deployability off, but he won't get to use his fee. Ooh. Ooh, foo, foo, foo. This is very, very close. Did we just tie? Did we just tie? No, we get one boost from the Warcrier, and it is just enough to take the win. So there's a look at the Skellige Pirates deck with a bunch of cards for the new Black Sun expansion. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. And also tune in for the new Rogue Mage game, formerly known as Golden Necker, that apparently is releasing. Crazy that it's coming out this quickly, but we will definitely be doing a lot of that in the coming days, so stay tuned for that as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.